morning, everyone. Flash. Flash. Wake up. What's going on, Scout? Are we under attack? No. And, I understand you were wanting to try and go to war with, someone named Jonathan the Riches in the Glarus chat. No. Fine. What are you doing in that tree, sir? I like it here. I like being in a tree. Very well. But besides that, today we will be talking about Johann Peter Petri, another German outlaw who was associated with and was the accomplice of the famous German outlaw Mr.Harland. He is also the name of the card game, well, specifically Johann Peter Petri, also nicknamed Old Black Peter, or simply Black Peter, who was born on March the 24th, 1752, near Bergen and Ben Costel. He was a robber and accomplice of Mr.Harland, the notorious highwayman. And the name of the card game, Black Peter, is probably derived from Petri. His parents were Johann Peter Petri and Christina Margaretha. Around 1780, Black Peter married Katharina Newman, the daughter of an innkeeper and charcoal burner. Johann George Newman and charcoal burner Johann George Newman. Maria was born in 1759 Schmelz, today a district of Neuhotten, about 15 km from Huttenskvagen. Scout, I'm pretty sure you just pronounced that wrong. I'm not very good with German names. Neither is Mr. Harland. It is no longer possible to determine where the marriage was contracted. With permission of the Christian IV, Count Palpatine of Palatine, not Palpatine, what am I doing? Count Palatine of Zerbroken, Petri built a hut in Hutska Swanson, next to his father-in-law's dwelling, in which he lived with his father for 11 years. At the time, he worked as lumberjack and charcoal burner. The charcoal produced in Huxrausen was needed for iron and copper smelting by the numerous smeltworks in the district of Amt of Allenbach. In 1781, his first son, Johann Peter Conrad, young Black Peter, was born in Hutchin Swanson. The other children, Elizabeth Margaret, born in 1784, John Christian, born in 1787, and Abraham, who was born in 1788, Catherine Elizabeth, born in 1791, and John Andrew, born in 1792, were also born in Hug and Swanson. The remaining three of altogether 9 children were not from Hutch Swanson. John George, born in 1794, Louis, born in 1797, and Leonard, born in 1803. Old Black Peter's hut was burned down in 1792 during the French invasion. From this time he led an unsettled life with his family. The Petris left Huggard Swanson and lived until 1811 in many places in Hunsrück and on the right bank of the Rhine, especially in the area of the Odenwald. The father continued to work as a woodcutter for about 6 months for the villages of Bulik and Gundershausen, then for about a year in Scharren near Kempfeld, where he worked for someone in Hottenbach. After a 6-month stay in Weldon near Hottenbach, he worked as a woodcutter at the glassworks in Sunwald for almost 4 years. After that he moved to Munchwald for 6 months, and then again for a short time to the area on the right bank of the Nyahi. Petri committed numerous criminal acts such as thefts, burglaries, and robberies. Together with Sinderhaus, he stole 2 horses in August 1798 in Ellern. On August 12, 1798, he and Sinderhaus murdered a Jewish cattle dealer, Simon Seligman, in the forest near the Tiergarten Forster's house. 3 years earlier, the victim had observed the married Black Peter during a tryst with the wife of Polecat James, Iltis Jacob, in the forest, and had told her husband, who then killed his unfaithful wife in a quarrel. Petri was of medium stature, and had a smooth and supposedly handsome face, coal-black hair, and a dark-side whiskers. Contemporaries described him on the one hand as a true predator, but on the other hand as a man who was moved to tears by the sight of a boy, probably because he thought of his children. During interrogations, Petri only incriminated thieves who had previously incriminated him and asked that this be noted in the minutes. He firmly believed that it would be advantageous to ask for a merciful punishment after confessing to each crime, and was pleased when other crooks failed to do so. Petri was also very vain. He often mentioned at a more mature age that he had been a very handsome man. When he talked about other members of his family, he always mentioned he was a handsome man or not. When he once received tight-fitting legwear, he showed them to everyone with obvious pleasure. He liked to recount the love relationships from his younger days. Old Black Peter was often arrested and interrogated at the beginning of year 7 of the French Revolutionary calendar. He was arrested in the canton of Oberschmonschel and taken to Kaiserslautern and the Simmern on the 29th of Brommer of year 7. He broke out of the tower of Simmern and fled to the east of the Rhine into the Odenwald in the spring of 1802. He stayed in the Sunwald but escaped the authorities, and unlike his son, young Black Peter did not stand trial in Mainz together with Sinderhaus in the Odenwald. He was once again active as a highwayman, burglar, and thief. Evil Ash, you can have the rest of this. I am tired. Of course. After the robbery of the stagecoach between Heppenheim and Weinheim on May 1st, 1811, in which Swiss merchant Hans Jacob Reiter was beaten to death, then the 59-year-old Black Peter was arrested in a general raid, although he had been living in Odenwald as a charcoal burner under the name Johannes Wild for a long time. He had nothing to do with the robbery. His true identity came to light in the course of the investigations through the statements made by fellow prisoners. The former accomplice of Sinderhaus, who himself was executed in Mainz in 1803, was extradited to the French authorities in Mainz. On November 11th, 1811, for his old crimes, he was sentenced to life imprisonment, together with another member of the Cinderhouse gang, Franz Dallas. Petri probably died behind bars. After his death, his body was transferred to the Anatomical Institute of the University of Heidelberg, where allegedly his skeleton was also kept for a long time. Today, the skeleton of Black Peter is considered lost, while one attributed to Cinderhouse still exists in Heidelberg today. Family. Oh, the whole family sounds like they committed crimes together. And it looks like they did. Old Black Peter's children, as well as his wife, Maria Katharina, who often took part in thefts, also became offenders. The son, Peter Petri, alias Young Black Peter, an accomplice of Cinderhouse, was sentenced to 15 years in chains and mains. Another son, Andrew Peter, nicknamed Charcoal Andrew, was sentenced to death for his involvement in the robbery of a stagecoach near Heppenheim in Mannheim. But this was commuted to life imprisonment because of his youth and inexperience. The sons, John George Petri and Leonard, participated in thefts. The daughter, Elizabetha Margaretha, was sentenced in 1812 in Mannheim to 6 months imprisonment for complicity in a robbery, adultery, and trickery. In 1813, the rest of the Petri family was arrested in the Cimmern arrondissement for begging and vagabondage. The wife of old Black Peter and a daughter later went into the poorhouse in Trier, where they later fled. Nothing is known about her fate. Scout, I don't have my glasses. What does that say? It says literature. There's many literature things made about criminals. Shoo, cat. Evil Ash, the cat is not doing anything. Well, he is. Oh, there's so much here. Where do we even start? Start with the Peter Baylor Lynn. There are many books. About this man. You have Peter Baylor in Cinderhouse's Chronic Bands, Kostheim in 2003, and other books, to whom I cannot make any legitimate pronunciation. It's terrible. Yes, my pronunciation is terrible as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that'll be it for today's video. If you liked, be sure to like. If you loved today's video, feel free to like, subscribe, leave a comment below, and we will see you next video. everyone. Evil Ash, wake up! Don't you tell me to wake up! It's the end of the video. Oh. See you next video, everyone. Yes. Good one. Yes, see you all next video.